Playoffs, obviously, this weekend. 12 are first-round guys. Jalen Hurts, mid-second. Brock Purdy is a complete outlier, again, with a great quarterback whisperer, Kyle Shanahan. And there's a lot of different paths to becoming an NFL star quarterback. But mostly you got to be drafted in the first round. But it's interesting. I was looking this morning at all the quarterbacks, and it's not necessarily who's better. There are kind of two styles of quarterbacks in the playoffs this weekend. And I would say there are game changers. These are the guys that may have a size advantage, an athletic ability, horsepower advantage. And then there are guys I would call game planners. They're more reliant on the game plan. If the play breaks down, there's limitations. So I think it's split right down the middle. I think 7 guys have the ability, O-line breakdown, miss block, receiver falls, got to ad-lib. I say it's Josh Allen, Herbert, Caleb, Darnold, Love, May, and Lawrence. All can take off and run. Very difficult to play man-to-man coverage on those 7. That you turn your back to these guys, you're in trouble. Then I think there are the guys that are mostly, I would call, game planners. And by the way, Stafford and C.J. Stroud, huge fans of both, are game planners, whereas if the play breaks down, you're using a backup left tackle, your pass pro isn't as good, the running game is off, they're a little bit more tied to the game plan. And as much as I like C.J. Stroud, go look in the red zone. Houston's a really bad red zone offense. Why is that? Well, why would that be? C.J. Stroud's one of the best pocket guys in the league because he doesn't take off and run for touchdowns. That's not what he does. His comp coming out was a more athletic Jared Goff. Somebody asked me the other day about Fernando Mendoza's comp. I said, it's a little bit of C.J. Stroud.
Okay. This is just so bizarre for so many reasons. Especially when you look at Jalen Hurts, you say, oh, the O-line's not that good, or there's no run game, they're struggling. Yeah. Jalen Hurts was the literal game changer in both Super Bowls against the Kansas City Chiefs when he had 0 run game. He had 0 run support. When Jalen Hurts was a first-year starter, he was the leading rusher for the Philadelphia Eagles and led the NFL in rushing for quarterbacks. Like what? He's also led an entire playoff run of all quarterbacks in rushing. Something Mahomes has not done, mind you. The Mr. Mobile quarterback, dual threat himself, Jalen Hurts, Philadelphia Eagles have also been elite in the red zone, who he said C.J. Stroud isn't. And yeah, Stafford is elite too, but right, he is a traditional pocket passer. And to be fair, I think Stafford is still a game changer as well. Let's be very clear. I think Stafford is definitely a game changer. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to put Jordan Love or Sam Darnold or Caleb Williams in this moment of time as game changers, but we're going to leave out Stafford, Hurts, etc. That makes no sense. And even Brock Purdy in his own right in both playoff games that he won in his Super Bowl run against the 49ers, against the Packers, and against the Lions, he was a game changer in that. He absolutely was, specifically with his legs, where he made some huge, got to have it moment runs, I think, especially in that Packers game in the 4th quarter. So what? I mean, this makes no sense. None. And shout out to the 49ers fan who let me, I don't always like to say people's names because I never know if they want me to, but shout out to the 49ers fan who told me about this clip. Me and him actually had we'll call it a gentleman's disagreement in the comments last week, and I always appreciate when you can go back and forth with someone and it gets a little heated, takes a turn, and yet we still stick around, still talk, and keep moving on, because there's sometimes you have a conversation with someone, they're like, I'm never watching a video again, I'm never commenting ever again, and it's like, it didn't have to go that far, that's why I always say, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some flights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. So I appreciate that. But I mean, I don't know, man. I just want to know, in what world I'm just looking at these 3 quarterbacks in the very middle, Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold, Jordan Love. These are all quarterbacks that I support. These are all quarterbacks I think are either great or going to be great. ES. let's just even focus on like a Sam Darnold right now, who's obviously not everyone's top favorite quarterback. Since last year with Minnesota Vikings, since before he ever took a snap with the Minnesota Vikings, like I have been pounding the table for Sam Darnold, right? Like I have been an outlier in that regard. In no chance can you put Sam Darnold as a game changer, but then simply say a Jalen Hurts isn't or a Brock Perry is. Like I don't understand how you can possibly get there. I mean, let's just even focus with Jalen Hurts here because Colin specifically said you have no run support. He had no run support in both Super Bowls. And what did Jalen Hurts do? He set the record in both Super Bowls for the most rushing yards for a quarterback. If that's not literally changing the game, by definition it is, you're breaking records. He broke his own record in the next Super Bowl. I don't know, like he had literally, especially in that first Super Bowl, had zero run support. It was non-existent. And so he had to do it himself. But you talk about red zone, he had to get in to score the touchdown and the 2-point conversion, and they were not tush pushes. He got hit with contact. Talk about horsepower at like the 2 or 3 yard line and had to just muscle his way through just himself. Again, there's no touch push. This is not like him, in the middle of the field here. This is him kind of rolling out and running kind of, down the line of scrimmage, the goal line. So I don't even know what direction we're going here with this because it just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. And it's like, this is where it's kind of like, and again, it's hard to address some of these other quarterbacks like an Aaron Rodgers because it's like, were we talking about Aaron Rodgers now, or are we talking about Aaron Rodgers in his prime? Like, what are we talking about here, size? I don't know, man. Even C.J. Stroud against the Chargers in that playoff game, that offense was really not doing much, and then it was actually his legs that really opened up that game significantly for them. Like, I guess theoretically, you can always find, for any quarterback, a moment where they're a game-changer. And so then you have to ask yourselves, okay, because we can find backup quarterbacks doing that, and which is true. I always say that you can find backup quarterbacks in the NFL make plays where you're like, Patrick Mahomes can't do it any better. And it's a true statement. It's why we've seen over the years so many of these backup quarterbacks have this insane run fandom, popular, the Minshew mania, all that type of stuff, because you're just like, wow. So it's really, to me then, like, the question is, well, how reliably can you do that? How reliably can you tap into that? And do you tap into it in the biggest games, in the biggest, most important moments? And Jalen Hurts has done that in 2 completely separate Super Bowl runs. We're clear about that. Like, we're clear about that. Snorts. We understand that. How do you think he became the Super Bowl MVP? How do you think he's broken multiple Super Bowl records, multiple playoff records that are not just rushing based, by the way? Passing completion percentage, passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns combined, etc. First downs, I don't even remember them anymore at this point because it's just like too messy. But like oh my God. Good golly, Miss Molly. I don't know, man. Again, like I just gotta leave it. I just gotta leave it here at this point. I don't know, man. It's really kind of ridiculous at this point. It really is. I guess I'm just gonna leave it here. I'm just gonna leave it here. Let you guys discuss it in the comment section, and I'll be there. I'll see you in the comments. But let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get to some discussions. Let's get to some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here. I mean, Jalen Hurts broke off a 40-plus yard touchdown run against Los Angeles Rams. I mean, ratted in for a touchdown against the Washington Commanders, too. Again, not a tush push. Made an insane scramble throw to Devontae that directly led to a touchdown. Made an insane throw to Devontae in the Super Bowl to then tie the game up, and then scored the 2-point conversion himself in the Super Bowl. Those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours. You know the drill. Comment, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Let's get after it.